Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Avatar news update video. This one is just going to be kind of my final thoughts, discussion, a little bit of an update I suppose, on basically San Diego Comic-Con for Avatar. So the news, of course, I've already covered it, but just so we're aware, because we're in San Diego Comic-Con week basically, the Avatar panel is going to be Sunday of the convention. So it's the Sunday panel at 12 p.m. until 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or Daylight Time, whichever one it is. So it's on fairly late in the convention, which we haven't usually had before, based on other panels. Usually it's been Friday or Saturday of the convention, so Sunday is quite late. Usually the fan panel will be on Sunday, but it's not this time. So obviously we know it's stated to specifically be an Avatar panel. We have complete confirmation there's going to be no Korra comic news talked about. It's just going to be Avatar, Gene Yang, and then special guests. But here's the thing. Mike and Brian have both separately said they both won't be there. So the guests aren't going to be Mike and Brian. I assume they'll get Team Gurihuru. I'll assume they'll get Kawano and Sasaki, the two women who are Team Gurihuru. One's the colorist, one's the line artist. I assume they'll have them there to talk about some North and South stuff in addition to Gene Yang. Other than that, maybe they'll get some actors from the show, but that doesn't really fit in with an Avatar Comics panel focused on Gene Yang. So to me, the only guests that make sense are Team Gurihuru. Maybe bring the some of free comic book day artists in, but I don't think there's much to talk about there. The panel seems to suggest that most of it is going to talk about stuff that we've already had so far, reflect on the current story arcs in the comics, but it also does mention the panel is going to have surprises and it's going to tease the future. And given that we already have the North and South preview pages, it really begs the question of what news is actually going to come out of this, because I think the way Dark Horse have kind of presented this is that okay, we don't have any core news to talk about right now, we're still planning that. Here's an Avatar panel. Are they treating this as just, let's keep Avatar at the forefront and just do something about Avatar? Or is this very specifically a focused Avatar comics news panel, where no need to worry about core comics, they can just give us the information we need about Avatar comics? And that's, I suppose, one of the things where this could be a super disappointing panel if they just want to have an Avatar panel and have some somewhat official news. But at the same time, it could be really good if they really go for it and have Gene Yang talk about North and South. They go really in depth on that to explain what it is, what the story's about. Because even from the preview pages, I don't think we get too much presentation about what exactly the story is going to be beyond just the basic gist of the story, the return to the South. So maybe concept art for some of the new characters, maybe show off more preview pages is something they could do. But I think for me, when they say tease the future, they have to be talking about the next story arc after this one. Because obviously Zuko seems to be taking a break for the North and South arc. Maybe we'll only see him towards the end to set up the next arc. I almost feel that they need to confirm or talk about what is coming afterwards and have that be the kind of big focus, not major focus of the panel, but in terms of the surprises, tease the future section, that's what needs to be focused on. Because I think if they just go too far in depth on North and South when it's relatively close to release, that could be disappointing just because we know about it already. Especially if they just do the thing of trying to make the 7 preview pages out to be new when we've had them for a while now. That could make for a very disappointing thing. Now, I assume the panel is going to fill up very quickly because it's the official Avatar panel, and Avatar panels tend to fill up really quickly and are very popular. I assume they have something planned, something notable in regards to news with this. Because here's the thing, we have the covers for North and South Part 1, 2, and 3. Realistically, they're only going to talk about North and South Part 1. What else is there to really talk about? We have release dates for all of the books, North and South and stuff like that. I assume they can talk about stuff like the hardcover for Smoke and Shadow, and maybe some of the other Dark Horse books, but they need to mention what's happening. I'd like it even if it was just a basic update of okay, here's the plan. I'm gonna sign on to do like 3 or 4 more Avatar comics after this one, and just make it clear to us that like, look, I'm going to be on board. Jin Yang, Team Guru. This is a team that's sticking together for a while going forward. And then I think the other thing would be address some sort of a time skip, because I think we've had enough stories in a row now where it makes sense to have a time skip. Too many just crazy incidents happening one after the other doesn't make a whole lot of sense to happen, given that they only basically have had a 1 year break between the end of ATLA and the start of the comics, basically, and stuff is still happening. I think you need to have another time skip at this point. That way you can make stuff a lot more interesting going forward. So that's really all the hope we have for this panel, in that if we're going to get any news, it's going to be either knowing more about North and South, or it's going to be about potentially what is coming next after North and South. So that's the only speculation that I think is really valid here, because I don't think they're going to like announce like, oh, another Avatar comic series, we're going to have 2 running at the same time, new creative teams or anything like that. I really don't think that's going to be a thing. Especially because the panel specifically mentions in the title of the panel, like, focus on Jin Luen Yang. So, you know, that's, if there's any news, it's going to come from him and potentially whatever Dark Horse person is moderating the panel. I'm just worried that it's going to be one of those panels that just... I'm worried it's going to be one of those panels that just is nothing. Kind of like the Avatar panel last year at San Diego Comic-Con, where outside of the announcement of core comics at the end of last year, the panel wasn't really worth talking about. It was just, okay, here's the stuff you've already seen before, let's spend a lot of time talking about that. Let's answer a few questions that like we're specifically choosing so we don't have to answer anything difficult or say anything new and stuff like that. My overall thoughts going into this are basically that I'm fairly pessimistic about what we're going to get. I really am not expecting much, if anything. Like, me speculating that he'll talk about the comic series after North and South is complete, like, hope, more than anything. I really, like, if I'm being super realistic, I think they're going to talk about North and South, a little bit show off the preview pages, maybe 1 or 2 more preview pages to give us a better hint at what exactly is happening, and hint us like a better idea about what the story is going to be. Talk maybe about the hardcover for Smoke and Shadow, and that's about it. I don't know how they're going to do a whole hour-long panel just with not much to say. I just hope there is something to surprise us, and that the teasers of the future are actually the future that we don't know about with regards to Avatar comics. So yeah, just going to end the video there. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are heading into the panel on Sunday. Do you have a lot of hopes? Are you really not expecting much now that they've confirmed no core comic news, or what? It's a very hard one to speculate about for sure. Who do you think the special guests will be, and what surprises will they have? Yeah, I'll just finish by saying link to my Twitter account, my Tumblr account, and also the 2 places where you can help to support my channel. The PayPal donation link, as well as my Patreon page, are in the description below, both of which you can use to help my channel. And the Patreon, of course, you get certain rewards that affect the kind of content that I put out of my channel. So check out my Patreon page and check what the different reward tiers are on that. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.